2026 is not just another year. It is a decision point, a line in the sand, a moment where excuses either end or repeat themselves. Most people will enter 2026 the same way they entered last year. Same habits, same thinking, same music results. But this message is not for most people. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And that's what this year is about. Music direction, focus, commitment. 2026 doesn't ask if you feel ready. Music. Life never does. It simply responds to who you decide to become. Success is predictable. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's discipline, practiced daily. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. That's not punishment. That's law. If you don't design your life, someone else will. So this year demands something different, a higher standard, a clearer vision, a stronger version of you. 2026 is your year, not because you wish it to be, but because you decide it will be. Decide to music, think better. Decide to act with purpose. Decide to stop drifting and start music directing, because the future does not reward intention, it rewards preparation, and the best time to prepare is now. Stay with me, because this year can change everything. Most years don't fail. Music people do, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, music, but because they repeat the same patterns and expect new results. A new year music arrives. The calendar changes, but the habits stay the same. And when habits stay the same, life stays the same. If you don't change how you are, you'll always have what you've got. That is why 2026 must be different. Not in words, not in wishes, but in decisions. You see, time does not change people. Years do not transform lives. Only choice does. Most people drift into a new year. They hope for improvement. They wait for motivation. They promise themselves, this year will be better. But hope is not a strategy, and waiting is not a plan. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. 2026 doesn't need another version of you that tries harder for a few weeks and then fades back into music, comfort. It needs a version of you that decides differently. Because here's the truth most people avoid. The life you're living right now is not random. It's a music result. A result of what you tolerate, a result of what you repeat, a result of what you've been willing or unwilling to change. If 2025 didn't give you the life you wanted, it's not because the year was unfair, it's because your habits were unchanged. Success leaves clues, so does failure. We all must suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Most people choose regret slowly. They choose it through neglect, through excuses, through saying, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year, and suddenly years have passed. 2026, music must be different because time is not waiting for you. Life is serious business. Music, it doesn't slow down for confusion. It doesn't pause for hesitation. It moves forward, and it rewards those who move with it. Music. If you don't take control of your direction, circumstances will decide for you. Either you run the day, or the day runs you. That's why this year matters. Not because it's a fresh start, but because it's another opportunity you cannot afford to waste. Every year that passes without growth increases music, the cost of change. It becomes harder, heavier, more music, painful. That's why starting now matters. 2026 must be different because drifting is music, dangerous. Drifting feels harmless at first, comfortable, easy. But drift never takes you somewhere better. It only takes you away from where you should be. You don't drift into success. You drift into mediocrity. You drift into regret. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So the question isn't what do I want in 2026? The real question is who must I, music, become? Because your income will not outgrow your thinking. Your results will not outgrow your discipline. Your future will not outgrow your daily choices. 2026 must be different because your standards must change. Not your circumstances, not your past. Your standards, what you accept in how you think, what you allow in how you act, what you tolerate in how you live. Low standards keep life small. High standards, music, demand growth. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for value. And value is built through discipline, learning, music, effort, and consistency. If you don't raise your standards, life will keep giving you the minimum. This year must be different because motivation alone will not save you. Motivation is temporary. It comes, music, and goes. Discipline stays, habits stay, character, music stays. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's what separates winners from wishers, not talent, not luck. Consistency. And consistency, music, starts with a decision that says, I will not live the same year again. I will not repeat the same excuses. I will not carry the same habits forward. 2026. Music must be different because your life is worth the effort. Your potential is real. Your ability is greater than you've used. And your future is shaped by what you do next, not what music you failed to do before. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. The major value in life is not music, what you get. The major value in life is what you become. So make this year intentional. Make it music disciplined. Make it focused, not perfect, but deliberate. Music. Because if you do, 2026 won't just be another year. It will be the year you finally took control. A year does not become your year by accident. It becomes your year by design. Most people let the year happen to them. They react, they adjust, they hope. But hope is not a strategy. If you don't design your life, someone else will. Turning 2026 into your year begins with a simple but powerful realization. You are in charge. Not of music everything, but of enough. You may not control the economy. You may not control the weather. You may not control what others decide, but you do control your attitude, your effort, your discipline, your response. Music, and that's where real power lives. For things to change, you have music to change. Most people want a better year without becoming better themselves. They want progress, music, without discomfort, results without responsibility. Life doesn't work that way. Turning 2026 into your year means accepting total ownership. Not blame, not guilt, but responsibility. Responsibility is empowering. Music. Blame is draining. When you stop blaming the past, you reclaim the future. The past has already taught you what it needed to teach. Carrying it forward only slows you down. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. That means success is just a few corrections. Practice daily. 2026 becomes your year when you stop asking, why did this happen to me, and start asking, what am I going to do about it? Turning this year into your year also means getting clear. Vague goals create vague music results. Unclear direction creates wasted effort. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a clear direction. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. Decide what matters, decide what doesn't, and then protect your time like your future depends on it, because it does. Every hour wasted is an hour that never returns. Every distracted day compounds into regret. 2026 becomes your year when your daily actions align with your intentions. Not someday, music, not when you feel ready. Today, small disciplines practiced daily will outperform massive effort applied occasionally. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Read when others scroll, work when others relax, think when others drift. Music. This is not punishment, it's preparation. Turning 2026 into your year means understanding that consistency beats motivation. Motivation is emotional. Consistency is intentional. Motivation shows up when it wants to. Discipline shows up because it must. The people who win are not the most excited. They are the most consistent. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Choose the lighter weight. This year becomes your year when you raise your standards, not what you wish for, what you expect from yourself. What you tolerate continues. What you demand improves. Raise your standard for how you think, for how you speak, for how you show up. Life responds to standards. Turning 2026 into your year also means patience. Results rarely come on your timetable. Growth takes time. Most people quit just before the breakthrough. They stop when things get quiet, when progress becomes invisible. But that's when the roots are growing. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Better comes with time, effort, and persistence. And finally, music. This year becomes your year when you commit not emotionally, but decisively. Not a half decision, not a try. A decision that says, I will do what music it takes. I will adjust when necessary. I will not quit. Because life always rewards the person who stays music in the game. The few who do are the envy of the many who only watch. 2026 music is waiting to respond to you, not your words, your actions. Turn this year into your year by becoming intentional, by taking ownership, by practicing music discipline daily. Do that, and when the year ends, you won't ask where the time went. You'll know exactly where it went. It went into building a life that finally works. One of the great misunderstandings in life is this. People believe they can have more without becoming more. They want a better life with the same thinking. They want bigger results with the same habits. They want new rewards without personal growth. Life doesn't work that way. You don't get paid for what you do. You get paid for what you become. Everything you want in 2026. Music, more income, more freedom, more confidence, more peace is waiting for you on the other side of music growth. If what you want is bigger than who you are right now, there will be tension. And that tension is not a problem. It's a music signal. It's life saying grow. You see, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract music by the person you become. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So the real work of 2026 is not chasing goals. It's expanding yourself. Music. Your goals are not too big. You're just not big enough yet, and that's not an insult. Music. That's an invitation to think better, to act better, to discipline yourself daily, because the size of your life will always reflect the size of your character. Most people stay stuck because they refuse to change internally. They change jobs, they change music locations, they change relationships, but they don't change themselves. And when you don't change yourself, every new opportunity ends up looking like the old one. For things to change, you have to change. Expanding who you are starts with your thinking. If you think small, you live small. If you think carefully, you live cautiously. Music. If you think intentionally, you live deliberately. Your mind is the workshop where your future is built. Music. Next comes discipline. Not extreme discipline, not punishment. Simple daily discipline. Reading instead, music of scrolling, learning instead of complaining, acting instead of waiting. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Those small disciplines stretch you. They make you uncomfortable. And discomfort is the price of expansion. You cannot grow while staying comfortable. Comfort shrinks ambition. Comfort dulls hunger. Growth demands effort. It demands music patience. It demands humility. You must be willing to be a beginner again, to learn music, to adjust, to refine. Expanding who you are also means upgrading your environment. The conversations you listen to, music, the content you consume, the people you spend time with. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your environment doesn't challenge you, it will contain you. If your circle doesn't stretch your thinking, it will shrink your vision. You don't need to abandon people, but you do need to elevate your influences. Another part of expansion is patience. Growth is not instant. Progress is often invisible. Most people quit too early because they don't see results fast enough. They mistake music silence for failure, but roots grow before fruit appears. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Better takes time. As you expand, you will notice something important. Your standards will rise. You'll no longer tolerate what once seemed acceptable. You'll no longer settle for what once felt safe. This is growth. Raising your standards is not arrogance, it's alignment with the life you want to live. And finally, expanding who you are requires consistency, not bursts, music of effort, not emotional motivation. Consistency, doing the right things. Long after the excitement, music fades. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Choose music discipline. Here's the truth you must accept in 2026. You cannot live a next-level life with a current-level mindset. Your income, your confidence, your results, they will only rise as high as you do. So stop asking life for more music and start demanding more from yourself. Grow your mind, grow your discipline, grow your standards. And as you expand who you are, you'll notice something powerful. The life you once chased will start chasing you, because when you grow, everything else grows with you. That is how 2126 becomes your year, not by wishing, but by becoming. Most years pass quietly, not because nothing happened, but because nothing meaningful was music designed. People remember years not for their luck, but for their music decisions. If you don't design your life, someone else will. Designing a year worth remembering begins with intention. Without intention, days blur together, weeks disappear, and suddenly a year is gone. A memorable year doesn't happen by accident. It is built carefully, deliberately, patiently. The difference between an ordinary year and an extraordinary one is not dramatic moments. It's daily choices. Design starts with clarity. If you don't know what matters, everything feels important. And when everything is important, nothing gets music done. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. Decide what you want 2026 to stand for. Not everything you want, what truly matters. A year worth remembering has a theme, a focus, a direction. Music. Next comes structure. Freedom without structure leads to chaos. Structure without freedom leads to frustration. The goal is balance. Plan your days with intention. Protect your mornings. Respect your evenings. You don't manage music time. You manage yourself. Either you run the day or the day runs music you. Design your days and your year will follow. A year worth remembering also demands discipline, not extreme music discipline. Simple discipline, reading a few pages daily. Music, thinking before reacting. Working when others delay. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Music. These small actions seem insignificant until the year ends. Then they become the difference. Design also requires elimination. You cannot add without subtracting. Cluttered lives produce cluttered results. Eliminate distractions. Eliminate draining commitments. Eliminate habits that steal your future. Music. You must get good at one of two things: planting in the spring or begging in the fall. Choose wisely. A year worth remembering is also built music on learning. Learning from books, from mistakes, from conversations. Every experience music is tuition. The wise collect the lesson. Formal education will make you a living. Music. Self-education will make you a fortune. Commit to growing your mind in 2026. Music. Growth makes life richer. Designing a memorable year also means raising your standards. You cannot design excellence while tolerating mediocrity. Raise your standards for effort, for integrity. Music for consistency. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for value. Music value is created by standards. Most importantly, a year worth remembering requires commitment, not emotional excitement, not temporary motivation. Commitment. Commitment that shows up on difficult days, on boring music days, on days when progress is invisible. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Choose the lighter weight. When you design your year, something powerful happens. You stop reacting and start leading. You lead your habits. You lead your time. You lead your future. Music. And when the year ends, you won't ask, "Where did the time go?" You'll know. Music. It went into building a life that moved forward, a life that grew, a life that music mattered. Designed 2026 with intention, with discipline, music with courage. Because years don't become memorable by chance. They become memorable by choice. And this year can be one you remember forever. Breakthrough does not arrive with noise. It comes quietly. One day looks ordinary, the next looks the same, and then suddenly everything changes. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. Most people quit before the breakthrough, not because they lack ability, music, but because they lack patience. They confuse movement with progress. They expect immediate results from long-term work. If 2026 music is going to be your breakthrough year, you must embrace a simple truth. Consistency, music comes before confidence. Effort comes before evidence. Discipline comes before reward. The breakthrough year is built on daily commitments, not dramatic music gestures, not heroic moments, small promises kept every day. Music motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Read when you don't feel like it. Work when results are invisible. Show up when no one is watching. These moments are unseen, but they are never unrewarded. Consistency is the ability to do the right thing long after the excitement has faded. Music. Anyone can start strong. Few finish steady. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Direction matters more than speed. Your breakthrough will not come from intensity. It will come from persistence. The farmer doesn't dig up the seed every morning to check music if it's growing. He waters. He waits. He trusts the process. You must learn to work harder on yourself than on your job. Growth happens underground first. Music. In 2026, you must commit to the long game. Stop measuring progress by days. Measure it by months. Stop asking, "Is this working yet?" Ask, "Am I still doing the work?" Because results lag behind effort. Always. Consistency also requires emotional discipline. You cannot let moods dictate your actions. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel uncertain. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Music, do the work anyway. Breakthrough favors those who act without needing constant reassurance. Another key to breakthrough is identity. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. To change your life, you must change something you do daily. Decide who you are becoming in 2026. Then act like that person daily. Not perfectly, but consistently. There will be setbacks. That is guaranteed. But setbacks are not signals to stop. They are signals to adjust. Failure is a few errors and judgment repeated every day. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Correct the errors. Continue the disciplines. Your breakthrough year will test your patience. Music. Nothing tests commitment like silence, when effort brings no applause. This is where most people turn back. But if you stay, if you persist, if you keep doing what others abandon, music, then one day, the silence breaks, opportunities appear, confidence grows. Results, music compound, and people will call it luck. They'll say you're lucky, but luck favors the disciplined. 2026 will not reward wishful thinking. It will reward faithful action. Show up, music daily. Refine continuously. Stay consistent until it works, because eventually it always works. And when it does, it won't feel sudden to you. It will feel earned. Make 2026 music your breakthrough year. Not by doing more once, but by doing better every day. Consistency builds momentum. Momentum builds mastery. Mastery builds a life worth remembering. In this time, don't music stop early. Stay long enough for the breakthrough to find you. As we stand at the doorway of 2026, remember this. The year itself will not change your life. The calendar has no power. Music. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Music. What changes your life is what you decide to do with the days you're given. You don't need more information. You need more commitment. You don't need a new plan every week. Tidar music. You need to stay faithful to the one that works. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well every day. Let 2026 be the year you stop starting over and start staying consistent. The year you stop negotiating with your discipline. The year you become the kind of person who finishes what they begin. You already have what it takes. What's been missing is the daily decision. Decide today to show up, to stay the course, to do music the work even when it's quiet. Because one day, the results will speak. And when they do, you won't need to explain your success. It will explain itself. Make 2026 your year. Music. Not by wishing, but by becoming.